Next, we want to go to California Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley. Congressman Kiley, thank you for being here. Happy New Year to you.
Thanks very much. Happy New Year.
It's great to have you back on the program. I want to start with this upcoming vote on Leader Jeffries' 3-year clean extension of ACA subsidies. Tell me where you stand, Congressman. Do you plan to vote for it?
You know, if I thought it would move the ball forward at all, I would consider it. The problem is, as Sahil just said, is that this is not a real solution. The Senate has, in fact, already rejected it. And so the path forward here has always been a compromise that has bipartisan support, that provides a temporary extension while instituting reforms and cost controls. So that's what Sam Liccardo and I proposed. We have numerous bipartisan co-authors. Josh Gottheimer and Jen Kiggins have proposed something similar. Unfortunately, the leaders of both parties, the Speaker and Leader Jeffries, have refused to endorse any of those compromises. And if either of them did so, then that would break the logjam and we could get policy enacted as soon as we got back.
Well, that is the challenge, that the bipartisan bills, you were on the program talking about it several weeks ago, haven't garnered that full support. And so I want to ask you about your colleague, Mike Lawler. He's been a staunch advocate for these bipartisan solutions, but he told me before the holiday that he does plan to support this measure. He says that it's about supporting things on a two-pronged track. Why do you see him why do you disagree with him on this point?
I don't necessarily. I think that if by bringing that to the floor provides us with a little more leverage and maybe can induce the Speaker to actually put one of the compromise measures on the floor, then I think that's a good thing. But I mean, Mike himself said that this is a messaging bill, essentially, from the minority leader at this point. If Hakeem Jeffries had endorsed any of the compromise proposals, then those would have come to the floor and passed and had a good chance to pass in the Senate. Unfortunately, he said, no, let's just all go and endorse this one bill that has no reforms and that has already failed in the Senate. So I've held the Speaker responsible for failing to actually bring a bill to the floor, but I also think the minority leader has played too much politics with this as well.
So just to be very clear, you're a no on this bill when it comes to the floor?
I haven't decided yet, but I am,
okay.
I have very mixed feelings about it just because it isn't an actual attempt to make law. What I want is a solution, not just to vote for something for the sake of saying I voted for it.
What say you, though, to your constituents, to Americans all across this country who say, look, return and preserve the health care subsidies now, and then work out a longer-term solution? In other words, they want action now, and they would potentially see a no vote as failing to take action.
No, that's what I'm saying, is we need action now. So the bill that's coming to the floor, that's a 3-year extension with no reforms or anything like that, it's already failed in the Senate. As Sahil just said, it's dead on arrival in the Senate. It's not going to happen. No action is going to come through that bill. The action is going to come through one of the temporary extensions that has bipartisan support and includes reforms as well. And the point you made is exactly what I've been saying all along. What we need to do is provide a temporary extension right now to stop all of these Americans, 22 million Americans, from suffering a massive increase in healthcare costs. That will give us the runway we need to address the larger issues of healthcare costs in this country.
Let me ask you very quickly, do you want any measure to retroactively give Americans who rely on these subsidies back pay for the subsidies?
Oh, yeah. I want our solution to make people whole. I mean, better late than never. I think it's a total failure and absolutely unacceptable that we're allowing these to lapse, but it's not too late to actually fix the problem. Because here's the thing. If we don't come up with a solution here, then the 22 million Americans we're talking about are going to respond in one of 3 ways. Either number one, they're going to have to pay potentially thousands of dollars more, which is going to force very hard trade-offs for their families, give them less discretionary income. Number two, they're going to decide they can't afford coverage at all. They're going to drop their coverage. That's probably going to be a few million people. And that's going to result in higher costs for everyone, even the 150 million people in the employer-based insurance market. Or number three, you'll have some people who will say, I'm just going to work less and have less income in order to keep my income below the threshold so I can still qualify. Well, that's not a good thing because they're losing income and we're losing economic activity more broadly. So I'm hoping to really emphasize these points to folks on both sides of the aisle when we get back, that there is a real urgency to act on this and to act now.
Let me ask you about President Trump. He hasn't really been heavily engaged in the negotiations, but he did post on social media this week, quote, Republicans, no more money to fat cat insurance companies. The money must go directly to the people to buy their own health care. This has been something he's been proposing for quite some time. What do you make of that? Is that a fulsome health care plan? Is it realistic?
Well, I am a supporter of health savings accounts. I think a lot of Americans use them, rely on them. They're great in providing additional options and allowing people to really be able to, control costs in their own way. I absolutely support legislation to expand health savings accounts. I'm not sure that it solves the immediate problem, though, or that it can be done in a way or quickly enough to solve the problem of people going off of this cliff with the expiration of the subsidies. So that's why my view is let's do a 2-year extension. Let's do it in a smart, fiscally responsible way. My bill with Sam Liccardo actually reforms overpayments to insurers, so they wouldn't do that well under our bill. And then we can use that runway to pursue solutions like health savings accounts and other, major initiatives to control costs.
Well, and just to flesh out that point, I mean, the HSA funds largely can't be put towards premiums. But let me ask you big picture about the president. Do you think his lack of engagement is helping or hurting the process?
Honestly, I think that the onus lies with Congress to take action here. So the idea that we're just waiting for the White House to come out with a proposal, I don't think that's the way the legislative branch should work. This is a proposal that originated with Congress, and so I think it's up to Congress to come up with a path forward. And so I think that there is a lot. I think that if you put this to a vote in both chambers right now, do we do a temporary extension with reforms like I proposed with Sam Liccardo, like Jen Kiggins has proposed with Josh Gottheimer? I think it would pass by a decisive majority in both the House and the Senate, where Bernie Moreno and Jeanne Shaheen are working on a similar compromise. So, and I think that if something like that got to the president's desk, I think he would sign it, and then we would have an opportunity to work on things like expanding health savings accounts and other innovations that I think actually there's more bipartisan support for than might meet the eye at first glance.
Well, let me ask you about House Speaker Mike Johnson. You have not been shy about at times expressing frustration with the Speaker. Do you believe he can effectively lead your party into the midterm elections and ensure that Republicans hold on to the House?
Well, I certainly want to see him change the way he has approached the job over the last several months. I mean, usually the Speaker is the Speaker for a full 2-year term, last term being an obvious exception to that. But I think that he does need to change the way he approached things the last few months, where the House wasn't even in session for 2 months. He canceled 6 straight weeks of session for the House of Representatives. And there's been far too many issues where the House has not been in the driver's seat. And this is, ACA subsidy issue is a very clear example of that, which I think is a failure of leadership. And I think that you're seeing more and more people in our conference who feel that way. That's one of the reasons you see more of these discharge petitions used as a way to get around leadership. So I do think that we need to have the House be a lot more proactive come the new year.
All right,
I guess we're in the new year.
Here we are. All right, Congressman Kevin Kiley, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.